I've heard my share of creepy stories, stories that make you want to sleep with the lights on. But this one takes the cake. It's about a guy named Jake, a regular dude, just like you and me, who found himself caught up in something way beyond the usual ghost story. So, let me set the scene for you. Jake had just moved into this old apartment in a quiet, almost too quiet, part of town. The rent was cheap, really cheap, so you know something had to be up. But hey, Jake wasn't one to question a good deal, and he wasn't the superstitious type. If it wasn't on the lease, it wasn't his problem. The first night, everything was fine. He unpacked a few boxes, cracked open a beer, and fell asleep on the couch. But then, around 2 a.m., he woke up to the sound. A scratching noise, like something was trying to claw its way out of the walls. At first, he thought it was rats. Old buildings, right? But when he checked, there was nothing. Just a cold draft that sent shivers down his spine. He shrugged it off, went back to bed, and figured he'd call an exterminator in the morning. But here's the thing, there was no morning without the scratching. Every night, without fail, that sound came back. And it got worse. By the third night, it wasn't just scratching anymore. There were whispers. Faint, but definitely there. And they were calling his name. Now, if you're like me, you'd be out of there faster than you could say haunted, but not Jake. Oh no, he decided to stay and figure this out. He even laughed it off, thinking he was just overtired or stressed from the move. But deep down, he knew something was seriously wrong. Then, one night, he woke up not to scratching, not to whispers, but to the feeling of someone, standing over him. He opened his eyes, and there it was. A shadowy figure at the foot of his bed. No face, no features, just darkness in the shape of a person. And wow, if you want to be me after hearing that, think again, because Jake, this guy, he just laid there, frozen, not sure if he was dreaming or if he was about to be the latest headline in some paranormal magazine. He blinked, and the figure was gone. Just like that. But the room was colder, the air heavier, and Jake knew this wasn't just his imagination anymore. It was real. Too real. Over the next few days, things escalated. Lights flickering, doors slamming shut, cold spots in the middle of summer. And that shadow? It started getting bolder. Showing up in mirrors, standing in corners, always just out of reach, but close enough to let Jake know it was there. Watching. So Jake did what anyone else would do in his situation, he called in a priest. The priest came, blessed the place, said a few prayers, sprinkled some holy water around. But you know what? It didn't work. If anything, it made things worse. The shadow got angry. Now, I'm no expert, but when a spirit gets angry, that's when you really need to get out of Dodge. But Jake? He stayed. I guess by now it was more than just fear keeping him there. It was stubbornness. Or maybe a twisted sense of curiosity. Who knows? Finally, one night, it all came to a head. Jake woke up to find the shadow standing right next to his bed, reaching out for him. And that's when he did something that surprised even himself. He talked to it. Asked it what it wanted, why it was haunting him. And believe it or not, the thing actually responded. In a voice that wasn't a voice, more like a feeling in his mind, it told him that this was its home. It had been there long before Jake, and it would be there long after. Well, that was it for Jake. He wasn't about to share his place with a ghost. The next morning, he packed up his stuff and left, didn't even bother to break the lease. He just walked out and never looked back. And let me tell you, wow, if you want to be me, just imagine walking away from a place like that and never looking back. That's what Jake did, and honestly, I can't blame him. So, there you have it. A real-life haunted tale of a man and the spirit that just wouldn't let go. Jake's doing fine now, by the way, but you won't catch him moving into another old building anytime soon. And you know what? I don't blame him. Not one bit.